Welcome back, everybody, for PCS1 APAC. We have concluded 2 matches now, both in Erangel. 1 more to play, of course, this week, Jordan. It is the Erangel week. Next week will be also the Miramar week. So Erangel to follow here for match 3. Q confirmed, though, they have been the kings of the unexpected shifts so far over the first 2 games, taking them both out. They have a commanding lead in first place as we head into this 3rd game.
If I do remember correctly, though, Q Confirm were a little bit better on Erangel in the Charity Showdown as well, so this is not altogether unexpected, Xenox. Of course, final game of Erangel today, as you do so dearly mention, and we head into Miramar after this. So, look, maybe it's important for Q Confirm to be putting these points on the board when they're, starting off well. They did that exact thing in Charity Showdown and weren't really able to capitalize and convert that into a whole tournament victory. But so far, it's going to be quite hard to catch them. They're at 41 points, 18 the next place behind them in Golden Cat, Fury on 16. So the top 3 certainly, in some aspects, aren't running away from the rest, but the top 1 definitely are.
The top 1? Well, you're not wrong, really, are you? Right? So I can kind of see your point there. I think for me that the thing as well is if you actually have a look at the standings, or that's a bit shrunken at the moment as we get our circle, not a bad circle, kind of actually very similar to the last game, but just more over to the left side of the map, is that from second to like last is like extraordinary close. There's only 17-point gap. I know we've only played 2 games, but still you kind of get the idea. It's, as you said, the top 1 really, which is what it feels like right now, is just so far ahead of everyone else. So they've been soaking a lot of the points up. Everyone else is kind of just getting second bites at it, really, which is why Golden Cat in second place, 18 points so far behind. Fury into third. You actually sort of just brought that up before we went into this game, off air, actually, indeed. That's a surprise to you because maybe game 1 wasn't that great. They didn't even really get that much in game 2.
The thing is, like, what I've been seeing from Fury when I've been watching these PCS games, and again, to go back to a Charity Showdown as well, is that they're not, like, setting the world on fire, but they're certainly not sucking, if that makes sense. Like, they're almost always staying in the placement points. They're almost always up in the top 5, and they're almost always getting 5 to 6 frags on the board as well, and like kind of chugging along that kind of consistent points coming into their back pocket. But they're never being able to get those big games, the likes of the 13 kill win that we just saw Q Confirm getting. So I think if they can turn some of these sort of decent but not amazing games into a win, it doesn't even have to be a massive win. They can actually be a real threat on the scoreboard.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, look, the fact is they're third, right? So in essence, they're already a threat on the scoreboard. In saying that, again, we've kind of got to keep expectations in check since we've only played 2 games. And because of that, I say that, but we're in such a weird scenario, Jordan, because I say like it's only been 2 games, but like the lead that Q Confirm have already got makes it feel like it's been more games. Like, to me, it feels like there's more games that have been played than there has been.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're not used to seeing, after just 2 games played, a lead of that stature.
You're also not used to seeing a team on 41 points after 2 games. Normally, when we look at a good run in a tournament, it's maybe 8 to 9 points on average a game. Certainly 10 points, you'd be like doing phenomenally, right? If you get to 100 points after 10 games, you're pretty happy with that. But Q Confirm are sitting at like 20 points a game at the moment on average. It's just insane. So there's no way that they're going to keep up this level for the entire tournament. If they do, it's probably the best run any team has ever had in PUBG, to go 20 games and get 20 points a game. 400 points, I'm not thinking that's going to be too likely. So Q Confirm eventually are going to have to slow down somewhere or other. It's just going to be a question of which teams are going to pick up the points that are then not getting soaked up by Q Confirm. Is it going to be the likes of Golden Cat and Fury and Cerberus and MSC, who are still sort of sitting relatively close by? Or is it going to be someone down toward the bottom end of the scoreboard, and that's going to give us a little bit more of a discussion about the 2nd to 5th kind of range versus the 1st to 5th kind of range, if that makes sense?
Yeah, someone like a Buriram United, you'd put sort of money on and say, I think they could soak up points along the way and get back into this currently 3rd last position. Sweetmate just holding an angle outside of Watertown. Does spot man running by as we move away from him. Hisaki just crossing this bridge over to Yoshi. Zoidmate did in fact get that knockdown onto man against the Eagle Sentinel Shooter, so that's a decent start there for Astra, who really probably need as much of a start as they can have. Minburi going to be pushed on, and the MVP of Thailand is not having a great start at all.
No,
and I'm not sure exactly how well he performed in game 1, but now in games 2 and 3, Jordan hasn't lasted longer than 5 minutes.
I don't know that we've seen anything MVP worthy from him tonight. I'll just say that much for you, Xenox. I think for now, MSC, they had that decent enough first game, but they didn't really manage to get anything done in the second game. Take a look at Sentinel Shooter, who right now are sitting in 12th place on the standings and I guess struggling a little bit, having lost a player. They continually seem to be getting into these early engagements against Astra, and this one certainly is favoring Astra at the moment. Shots going through from Zoidmate. He's done some pretty considerable damage to Vandal. It doesn't seem like he's going to be able to pick the kill up, but Sentinel Shooter are not feeling too happy about, I dare say, would you call this a contest? I mean, Astra are not dropping Rozhok. I've noticed that much, Xenox. They've been going more towards Watertown. So it's obviously a location that Astra hasn't in the past when they were Atletico been dropping, but I don't know if maybe this is just a shift in mentality and they don't want to go to Rozhok anymore.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. I'd have to ask the team. Scrims obviously sort of dictate, I guess, where teams drop, but then once we get into the tournament, who knows? Like, for all intensive purposes, and I mean, this has been happening since game one tonight, that Astra maybe had Watertown free in scrims, and then game one, Eagle Sentinel Shooter decided, all right, now we're going to go Watertown because we didn't get where we wanted to go. Of course, remember, this is half of a new team compared to Charity Showdown, so there is a bit of an indecisive nature about them coming into PCS 1 APAC. Astra, in a sense, have always been known to go Rozhok, if not Rozhok, at least Watertown. So they have this stability around this region. I don't know. It's intriguing. I think Astra have to fight this out though, and that's what they've been doing. Try and hold, and you can. The thing with Watertown is you can actually very easily just trap teams in there anyway. So really, kind of drop there and loot there at your own demise. If Astra gets some loot, they can really lock you in there.
You could have just saved that by saying Astra, and probably no one would have even noticed.
Probably. I've got to get out of the habit though. Look, it's been like it's actually been like 3 years of an Atletico team being at the top in the Oceanic region. It's going to take some time, Jordan.
Yeah, I certainly sympathize with that. I've seen it happen, and it happens to me all the time with other titles as well, when one of the best teams changes org. Speaking of one of the best teams, I guess at the moment, you'd have to put Fury in that discussion. They're now sitting in 4th place after Cerberus picked themselves up a point and have overtaken them as far as kill points are concerned, but still early days. 2 games in, sitting at an average of 8 points a game so far for Fury. I mean, you're not disappointed by that at all, and if they can keep that pace up, that's going to be enough to even sort of look at a potential victory. You think about getting to 160 points out of 20 games and what an unreasonable kind of a number that can be. I think you're probably going to see things slow down a little bit more so there, but they've certainly started off nicely. It's really just for me, Fury needing to be able to sort of push the issue, maybe get Waikika Mukau involved early, see him start to frag out, have those sort of big moments, and that's where they could be tipped over the edge.
Could do. Well, Bahamut Gaming haven't really got off to a start they would have liked to have seen as well, representing the Philippines, second last at the moment, 2 points. Only Victim Rise below them, still on 1 point. Archangel Predator were the representation for Thailand, for Philippines last time around. This time it's Bahamut. Not a lot of expectations on them though as a whole. Zoidmate, hello, knocked down, but it's going to be surely an immediate revive at some point.
Jay's, he's on his own at the moment. Svit is close-ish by.
That position is super safe. If Astra want to go over and finish him off, they may. If they know that he's by himself, it's not a horrible play. But these mountain ranges, very easy to actually secure the res, as you can see, like how safe he is. Astra would have to literally push over there. Probably not something you want to do. Zoidmate's going to be turned back immediately by Svit. You mentioned he was close. He's close enough. You can actually just see it. Literally just peeks it for a second, shoots. It's his way of saying, yeah, someone's here. I'm going to revive him. You may as well just go back. Like, it's almost like a friendly way of saying, good shot, but let's get him back up.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I respect Zoid trying to go for the flush there as well. You kind of have to try and get a bit aggressive and try and get those points on the board. But I also similarly respect the decision, like straight away, as soon as you recognize that there's no chance, you're just out of there. So it's kind of like a low risk, high reward kind of a play there, I think, from both teams. So overall, bit of a friendly stoush. Astra would have liked to have picked the point up, but either way, they'll have bigger things to worry about as Circle Shift does start to come in. It's a bit more of a central one over top of Rozhok, shooting range. heading just towards the Georgia Bowl, Containers out towards the west, and then Ruins is into the south. So we've got the Rozok River kind of cutting the map in half, or the playable map in half. We see Jayas rotating past Poochills. He should be okay there. But with the circle the way that it is, teams are going to have to think again, do we hedge our bets to the north or do we hedge our bets to the south?
Yeah, and this is more of the serious question to this, is this sort of circle rather than the last one. The last one was a bit more south orientated. I mean, I guess there's a way you can look at this and say it's a bit more north sided. Venotica doesn't have Jiaoman continuing on. In fact, goes to the rock instead and takes the fight with the barrel in hand. The nade went by, went too far past. And way too far past as Jiaoman stays up with 1 health. No more than less. A flash from above. While the headshot was a little bit overkill, he's able to save Venotica, and QC are going to be down to 3 this time permanently.
Yeah, especially losing Jiaoman, quite a big deal. Jiaoman and Gems were 2 of the top players for Q Confirm in the charity showdown. Haven't seen any damage charts or anything like that so far here for PCS APAC thus far, but I dare say they'd be up there, and probably all 4 of the Q Confirm players would be up there after having a 13-kill win. Either way, Day Trade are going to get all 4 of their players back on up. Nordra here from Buriram is being sent forward as the scout. So he's having a look past school up toward the Rozok Hill. This is going to give the rest of Buriram a nice way to rotate in, and probably a bit of information as well if they do take Rozok Hill as to where they can go following this. Because in reality, Xenox, looking at the circle the way that it is, there is a pretty good chance that this goes up toward the northern side, over the river. So Buriram will have to think about what their options are should that happen.
So 45 seconds, though, until phase 3. Thus far, this has been one of the quieter games. In fact, probably the quietest match we've had so far tonight, heading into match 3. Flash.
Waikakamukau.
Yep, very close and a very above position against Waikakamukau. Venotica down below, and, well, I don't think Waikakamukau realized what he was heading into there. Day trade holding Everest with this sort of circle. I think Fury would not have been expecting a team to be here, because typically, really, as teams and as players, you want to go for center. You want to try and get the best positions. In the end here, Day Trader just kind of anchoring at the edge of the circle as far as they could, away from the action. In saying that, of course, kind of hedging their bets a bit still because of this sort of circle, which we're about to now see where we go. And that doesn't really give us too much of an answer. Although I will say it gives us an answer for phase 4. North is where we will go. Mahogany Esports in a good spot. So is Gearbox. Victim Rise, not too bad as well. Just north of Rollshawk. Eagle Sentinel Shooter. Probably need to cross that bridge as soon as possible. MSC, not too bad of a position either. Everyone else, though, that I didn't name, probably are not too happy with that circle. Q confirmed one of them.
Yeah, that's a really rough circle. In fact, this reminds me of the second last game of the Charity Showdown, which was the one that Division X Gaming really ran away in, because they were more or less in the position, actually, that Gearbox is at the moment. We'll see whether or not we follow that same trend, but if it does, that circle is going to go right on top of those sugar cubes that Gearbox is holding down, and everyone else be damned if they're down on that southern side of the river. They are not going to have a good game here at all. So you need to get across early. VTR with some demolition derby. Chibarit has knocked himself out with the vehicle. Running around the corner is going to be Genfoss, who goes down as well. Maugi are going to be picking up so many points out of this. And I don't know what VTR are going to be thinking about what they've just done, but they are certainly going to regret it.
I don't know what that was. That was quite amateur hour from Victim Rise, and only one player remains now. Sent it straight into Boggy Esports. They knew that was a compound that was already occupied as well. I mean, I know that some of these APAC teams, Jordan, do like to breach early, phases 2, phases 3. But that's probably not one way to do it, where you're literally just going directly line of sight and you're giving free reign. I mean, I know Shibaret looked like it knocked himself, but he took a lot of damage prior to that. Buriram make their way across just below Golden Cat. 6 sacks on the move along with Maxonus behind him. So Golden Cat aren't going to hold this position. Got to be careful, though, considering Buriram's position, to not lose someone here. Those shots, you wonder, 6 sacks has got out of his Dacia. Are they going to want to see if they can pinch Buriram from either side here?
I dare say they are. God Meow goes down early. Maxon is getting that, and Canaxi is kind of being left high and dry now. He's the only one on the northern side of this bridge. As soon as Golden Cat spot him out, he's going to be in trouble. But that is a nice few shots coming through from the SKS. You hear the click, click, click. He's run out of ammo. Grenades headed in his direction now as well. And the barrel has to get pulled out, but Canaxi can't do too much. Does get himself a grenade knock onto Tinoy, so he's kind of like a one-man army at the moment for Buriram. There's no one here that can actually help him out. Rotations are coming in. Great shots from Edie to keep his teammate covered as he crosses the river. That was Nordra. And all of a sudden, it shifts back in the favor of Buriram. Tonke will have to try and get the res.
Edie, Nordra, still alive for Buriram United. I know it's very early days, but a lot of hope for their chances of being able to compete potentially on the line here already early on in match 3. They've gotten off to a very sluggish and slow start. North Circle for phase 4. No surprise there, of course. Gearbox, well, they had a 2-2 split, may just want to group up now as well if they want to. Mogi Esports can continue to hold that compound up north, as Q confirmed, and Cerberus, I believe. Or it might have been Golden Cat. Never mind, it is, in fact, Q confirmed. It's hard. From that screen, it's hard. The QC and the GC is very difficult to see, but it's fine. We get there. JS is going to go down. And, well, Q confirmed out in last place. It's either everything or nothing for them so far after the first 3 matches. Astra have got Eagle Sentinel Shooter still to deal with. Actually, still all the way back at Watertown. It's like nothing's really happened over the last 16 minutes for them. They've just sent them packing. Nordra got 2 members of Golden Cat as well, so I think they've been eliminated. No, have they? I don't know. It's all happening now in the last couple of seconds, Jordan. Yeah, it's all just coming together at one point in time. Extreme is going to try and cross the bridge. He copped a few bullets from Ronan here for Fury. Insanity at the moment early on in game number 3 of PCS APAC. And Q confirm. Once you see all 4 of those players go out on the kill feed, I think that pricks a few ears up. People like Cerberus Esports are thinking, great, now's our chance to catch back up. Nice spray. MSC find themselves a couple of knocks. It's Yanku and Rosited Jr. who have been able to pick up those 2. Flash and Métis down. Day Trade have only 2 players remaining. Venotic is headed directly at Carnage, and you all know how that's going to work out. He does get knocked by the zone, but it's going to be okay. B2 pick the points up for it. So Carnage are on the board here for game 3. They've been having a bit of a difficult run so far. 7 points down there in 12th. But all's well that ends well for them. And we turn our attention back to Zoid, mate, who is spotting my boy from BG, the Philippines team. And this could be a very ill-advised rotation if BG tried to go over that bridge. They've got no choice, though. They've got no choice in the matter. They've got a minute and a half. They've got to get over there before Phase 5 begins. They'll be insulated the blue. They don't realize that Astra are camping this bridge location. As you mentioned, Bahumat have been waiting for a very, very long time here. Astra have been patient. In fact, we saw Zoid's point of view. He had the shot if he wanted to. Linksy now with the spray. You got to land these. You've bided your time. Linksy finds a double on the Mr. Chan, and Shinwara Ju as Extreme should get the last one. Oh, he just jumps out of the way like a movie star. Switches over the SKS, but now he's taking shots from Ronan, trying to just still get that flaming Darcia to get some explosion to happen. In the end, it does explode. The Victim Rise is the ones who are going to receive the points because of it. Extreme knocked down and now finished off as well by Samoy.
That is absolute insanity. Again, you're always going to see it with a circle like this. When teams are trying to get across the river, when they have to do stuff like this. I mean, look at what Argod is trying to do right now. He's just absolutely booking it, trying to get into the river, and he does. But where do you really go from here? Let's be honest. Buriram are on the northern side of the coast. So is Fury. Carnage and Cerberus are getting into an engagement out toward the west, but they have to be aware of MSC quite close by as well. And in 20 seconds, the circle is shifting in 2. So there is going to be quite a lot of engagements happening over the course of the next 2 or 3 minutes. And it's going to be quite a crazy game here. I think we're going to be losing a lot of players early on in the piece this time.
Yeah, I think we're going to have I always say it might be an early finish, but then things do slow down around phases 7, 8. For instance, Victim Riot's eliminated in 12th position. It's going to be a struggle for a lot of teams to pick up placement points in this sort of game. As you can see on your screens, every team besides Gearbox and Mogi Esports are on the edge of the circle, outside of the circle. The blue not far away, and it is going to start moving in 30 seconds as well. Cerberus Esports, 5 kills. Haisaki has been the MVP for them in this particular game, and they got eyes on MSC. Thinks he goes down to the blue. Not sure exactly what happened to cause that. I think he maybe is stuck on the little island.
I think they're giving the points up, yeah.
Yeah, potentially. Maybe just trying to find some frags inside of the blue as they eventually die and as they sort of make their way out of the game. Astra have really tried to make the best of a strange situation. We were talking about it at the very beginning of the game with the Watertown, Rozhok, strange plays. Carnage, 2 kills. Runye still alive. Actually, I don't know if he wants to go by Rain or Runye in this game, considering the change back over to Rain. He swaps and chooses how he pleases. MSC still with 3 alive, but their MVP hasn't been by their side at all tonight, really, as there goes Astra in 10th.
Yeah, Nikus was also stuck down there with Linksy on the island, so he was giving those points up to the blue as well, just firing a few shots at Buriram, which may inevitably end up helping out Fury Australia. You can see Jukesy right now, proned, ready, and waiting for Buriram.
How many kills can Jukesy get here? Realistically, they've got no idea, although they are looking like they're going to rotate away as we head over towards Carnage out to the west. They got Cerberus above them on the other side of this hill. Not a very big lip on this hill, but it's big enough that at B2's current position, they would have to kind of run up and then peek over it. MSC are here as well, so it's a 3-team fiasco out west here for Phase 5. A minute until Phase 6, Blue's moving. Rossiter Jr. at the tree, yanked you off so close to going out. Now he does, in the end. You've only got so many lives you can really take. B2's been flashed as he pushes up to the UAZ. Cerberus are fully in control of this fight out west at the moment, Jordan.
Yeah, Carnage under pressure. B2 low behind the US. Rain tries to make something happen, but does end up getting knocked down by Subang. Here comes Basil, and Carnage is eliminated. Subang picking one up, Basil another. 9th place, so Carnage not quite able to get into the placement points, but this opens the door for everyone else, as MSC are eliminated in 8th. That's also by Cerberus Esports. Juicy is still proning. God Meow has died to the explosion of the vehicle. That's courtesy of Ronan.
They can win this game, Fury, from this
Surely,
position.
Juicy, I don't know why he hasn't moved yet.
Well, I don't think he wants to give up his location, because what I'm trying to say is Canaxi and Nordra have pushed past him. Now so is Iddy. But they've got Insight and Ronan on the other side of this. Now they're in a pinch play against Buriram. Jukesy taken low. Now he's given away that position. But this is where Insight and Ronan need to make their push. They need to make their move. Come over the top of this hill. Fire down below. You can see Insight even just spraying with the barrel, trying to put pressure onto a Nordra who's running towards Jukesy. Finally gets the heal off and the reload, and he's able to get the elimination. Now stands up as well. The SLR towards Canaxi. The knockdown. Only one more player in front of him. Edie pushing over the spray from Ronan. They're just trying to buy time for Jukesy, but he goes down. And they can't save their member. Ronan is the last one alive for Fury. That really didn't go as well as they would have planned. Edie stays alive for Buriram United, and now, unfortunately for Ronan, Jet has also spotted his position, and from a very favorable position potentially for Fury. Had they been able to wipe Buriram, have 3 up, they could have easily probably gone on and potentially win this game.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on there for Juicy. It seemed like he was having trouble, like, scoping in or something. I'm not sure. He was firing shots, but they didn't really seem to be going anywhere. He was trying to fire shots. I don't know. Either way, maybe I'm reading into it too much. Gearbox with 4 players alive. Cerberus as well, and they may not have 4 players alive in just a second, because Gearbox certainly are copying a spray of bullets. The smokes being thrown in by Gearbox, but they're going to have to move. Circle is at their back, and they're going to have to go straight into Cerberus, who have full control of the rotation in.
Feels like they've got full control of this game. Gearbox will get some last few kills here. I've got to say, in terms of recipients of a zone luck so far tonight over the first 3 matches, Gearbox is definitely up there. Looking back on the match 2, where they were, in that shack for so long as well, and now here for match number 3 all the way down to Phase 6. Only now they have to move. Only now they're getting sort of pressured and cornered by Cerberus, who I've got to say probably at this point they're going to run away and take this game and put pressure onto QC by the end of this. Of course, still a lot of time to play out here. 5 teams remain as Divine's going to be eliminated by Ronan. Jet's knocked down, and Jun's the last one alive now for Gearbox. 4 kills, top 5. Not a bad effort for Gearbox. When you do consider the fact that they've been in that compound for so long, Jordan, maybe would have expected more from them, as Gakon is going to get the elimination, and Mahogi Esports are now into the final 4 with 6 kills themselves. And really, if you look at the leaderboard to the left, of the 4 teams remaining, 3 of them are in the top 4 behind QC. So QC are going to have some pressure back on them already after that amazing match 2 and match 1.
Yeah, particularly if Fury and Cerberus go a little bit later in this game. Cerberus being the closest competitor, and they're the one that probably looks like they might win this game based on the circle right now. Shift does go on top of Ronan, so Fury, I don't know, might be able to salvage a second place here, although Ronan is certainly under a great deal of pressure right now, and he's got a crossfire from Mahogany to deal with, and he's not going to last too long. So I thought maybe there was a chance there for Ronan, but he didn't quite get to the trees in time, and Cerberus now are certainly looking like they might sweep away with this one, take quite a few more of these kills. I'm not sure it'll be enough to catch Q Confirm, but it will be enough to get them, once again, within striking distance.
A little bit of work to do, but Cerberus in the driver's seat right now for this game. Not going to count out Mogi Esports from this either. Taking out that third place is probably a good start for them. 14 kills now for Cerberus. This has just been an insane performance from them here for match 3. Heading into Miramar after this. Basil spots Gakon as well. Jet still alive, who's kind of the star player for Maoki Esports. Don't want to count him out yet, but considering his current position, his current predicament, it's not going to be easy for him up against Cerberus, who really have just sort of been cleaning up everyone in this game. They started it out when they were out west in that sort of 3-team fiasco, and since then, really, they've just been moving along, going from fight to fight, which is why they've got obviously 14 kills. Eddie's still alive, and he does now die, but he took Hayasaki with him. So 3 versus 2. Not impossible for Mogi Esports, Jordan.
Not impossible, but it's a little difficult, I dare say. Cerberus have been performing pretty well so far in this map. And so far today, not too bad either. Subang, Smell, and Basil, second place in that first game they were able to get. It looks like it might be their first place here in game number 3. But we'll see what Jet and Gakon can do. Gakon going on a very wide flank. Jet as well, to be fair, just in the other direction. So they're sort of trying to play this split and pick gameplay. See if they can find someone, find an angle, turn it into a 2-on-2.
It does feel like the Cerberus have deserved the win here in this match 3. Performance-wise, they've been outstanding. And you questioned whether or not it would be enough to put them above Q Confirm. Right now, it's seeming like it would be. 2 kills plus the extra 4 points. Well, it depends if they've added the 6 at least as a minimum for second place or not. But basically, I would say they win this, they're probably going to be in first after 3 matches, which is surprising considering the start that Q Confirmed had. 15 kills, though, and potentially 17 still, and a possibility for Cerberus is an amazing game.
I guess, given the fact that Cerberus took second place in game 1, they got a few points. They got 4 points out of game 2, even despite the fact that they finished in 16th. Overall, they still kind of came into this within striking distance of Q Confirm, who didn't get a single point out of this game. So there's always that to think about. But it's not necessarily a foregone conclusion just yet. Augie Esports still hanging in the discussion. They've not got an awful circle position right now. Bit of deflate to play with, but they're going to have to try and deal with this big crossfire that Cerberus have set up. I like the way that Cerberus are controlling the circle at the moment. The only way that this goes poorly for them is if they lose an individual, you know, someone gets picked off and it turns into a 2-on-2. So far, it's all pretty comfortable for Cerberus.
It's a lot of smoke over towards Jet to his left. I think to the left. Oh, he's just spotted the head of Basil. Basil spotted his head as well, both landing a shot onto each other, but Jet's going to reign supreme in that fight, and there is that smoke I was talking about. So that's intriguing. Big. He was able to push up out of sight lines of Smell and Subang, finds Basil, now makes it a 2 versus 2. Did say before, Jet's sort of the star player for this team, although he hasn't been the one picking up the kills like Gakon. Apologize for pronouncing that one incorrectly, but Maogi Esports 8 kills now as well. I mean, the biggest downside for them is the fact that Cerberus have got this little dip that Smell and Subang have been holding out for quite a while. Now going into phase 9, really, it's Maogi Esports that have to come to Cerberus.
Yeah, and it's a question of how many smokes does Maogi have to play with right now. You can see they're getting thrown out, and there seems to be quite a few. Jet peeking around the smoke does put a little bit more damage into Smell, and he still has 4 smoke grenades, Xenox. Wow. So they're going to be able to close this gap, if nothing else.
Yeah, definitely close the gap in terms of positioning, get over towards Subang, Smell, make it a close range engagement. But I mean, really, once you make it an even playing field, such as it is now, 2 versus 2, anything can happen. Despite that little gap, that's that little ridge that Subang and Smell have got. I mean, that's not really that special. I'd rather have like a tree, for instance, or a rock rather than that. Depending on how many smokes Cerberus have got as well, Maogi Esports can manipulate the battlefield that's to come here in the last minute 40 seconds more so than Cerberus. That then gives an advantage over to Maogi Esports, although they are down to only 2 smokes remaining. Not sure how many Subang and Smell have got.
Well, that's almost a pretty good grenade. Subang does just back away from it and only cops about 20 damage. Still surviving for the moment. Big spray from Jet, but again,
there's no smokes at all for Cerberus.
Just not enough to get the kill. Subang survives. There's a few Molotovs available on the Cerberus side of things, but as you mentioned, no smokes. I think Maogi might have run out of smokes now as well. I wonder if Jet can get to that tree. Molotovs are going to get thrown in now by Cerberus, though, and sooner or later we're going to have to see both teams make their moves. Mollies are keeping Maogi at bay. They're out in no man's land. Good spray from Smell. Gakon goes down, and it's on to Jet. He hides in the smoke, but that won't be lasting too long at all. And the spray comes through from Subang as well. I don't know whether he spotted him or just spammed through the smoke. Either way, a 17-kill win for Cerberus, Enox. And so far, we're going from good to better to best. In game 1, 2, and 3, it was an 8-kill win for Q Confirmed to start the day, and then a 13. And now we've got a 17-kill win from Cerberus. That is absolutely massive.
Yeah, 18, 23, now 27 points here for match 3. Cerberus, as you said, really the best so far in terms of an individual performance. That'll put them in first place as well and overtaking Q Confirmed. And look, you know, nothing was a foregone conclusion. Not after 2 games and certainly not after 3 games. But now there's a bit more of a pack. You said top 1. Jordan after game 2, but now there's probably like a top 3 at the very least, including Maogi Esports. Brewery Ram United, who really struggled through that game. They had a lot of pressure on them throughout pretty much the entire game. Were able to pick up 11 points. That gets them off the bottom, out of the bottom 3, I think maybe even at one point in the bottom 2. A team that holds themselves in high regard and has got a lot of really good past performances. And then Fury, could have they got more from that? They maybe should have actually wiped out Brewery Ram United, in fact. So the teams that we're expecting to kind of do well are continuing to do well, or if they started slow, now picking things up.
Yeah, I think for me, across the board, that's a nice game to just close the gap a little bit towards the top end of things. Obviously, we talked about Cerberus and Q Confirm being relatively close by. I think Cerberus does overtake Q Confirm with those points on the board. But for the rest of things, I mean, Fury still in there having a bit of a discussion for themselves. 4th place at the moment, 24 points on the board. You can see this is the total leaderboard after our first 3 games. A couple of chicken dinners there for Q Confirm and one for Cerberus Esports. But right now, obviously, it's Cerberus and Q Confirm that are leading the pack, and then there's a bit of a chase coming through from Maogi, Fury. You can go all the way down, I think, maybe even to MSC, Booram, to be fair, are sort of
Astra
still doing pretty well. And yeah, Astra, I guess at the moment, probably haven't had one of those really solid games, but you're starting to see a lot of kills coming out for them. So sooner or later, we'll expect them to do pretty well. And I think from Astra's position is where it starts to drop off a little bit. We haven't really seen too much from anyone below Astra. Day trade certainly not a high expectation for them based on what they did in the charity tournament. And DIC the same, you know, so there's, I guess for me, I'd be looking at the top 10 right now as the ones that are looking quite competitive.
I know we've only played 3 games, but 5 teams, Jordan, have yet to register a placement point. Day Trade, Carnage, Eagles, Sentinel Shooter, Victim Rise, and Bahamut Gaming. That's a trend, and that's a bad trend. They've got to hope that now going into the last 2 games of the night on Miramar, they can turn that around, find some placement points. Because if you're not getting placement points, you're not surviving. And even though some of those teams are picking up some kills, like 7 kills for Carnage, 9 kills for Day Trade, they kind of shoot themselves in the foot. If you're not staying alive, you're not going to be able to rack up, say, 21 kills, 26 kills, like Q Confirm and Cerberus, for instance. And I think you're right. You know, Astra, for me, is kind of that cutoff point right now, that top 10. But in saying that, then it's only 3 points below them is Day Trade, and only 2 points. So there's certainly a top 2 right now, points-wise, Cerberus and Q Confirm. A lot of games still to be played, of course, as well. So it's really hard to gauge too much of an understanding as to where these teams are going to finish by at least maybe not tonight, but by the halfway mark after 10 games, for example. Because really what we learned from Charity Showdown is nothing's over until it's over. We had some teams that started very, very slow. Even a team like Division X Gaming, who ended up winning Charity Showdown, didn't exactly get off to a flyer. And one team that did was Q Confirmed, and they ended up halting towards the midway, and then they kind of struggled to find a bit of form towards the end. So we're going to go to a quick break. On the other side, though, we're going to switch things up. I'm going to head to Miramar for our last 2 games of the night.